Welcome to the 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV. Now this is available in 3 trim levels, LT1, LT2, and RS, and all 3 are available in front wheel drive or all wheel drive. Our version today is an LT2 front wheel drive. It has an 85 kilowatt hour battery and it does 0 to 60 in mid 7s. This has 220 horsepower, 243 torque, and an EPA rated range of 319 miles. Now stepping up to the all-wheel drive, you lose some mileage and you drop down to 307 miles of range, but you get 300 horsepower and 355 torque. Now again, this is Chevrolet's 2-row SUV made to compete with the Tesla Model Y. So let's dig in further and see how competitive it is. The Equinox EV is equipped with a CCS charging port and can fast charge up to 150 kilowatts. Now at home, it'll charge at 11.5 kilowatts unless you step up to the RS trim, which is capable of 19.1 kilowatts. Now since this car is a convenience package too, it not only has your backup camera, but also a camera for the rear view mirror. The liftgate is power. It's quick enough. Moving to the rear, we have 26 cubic feet of storage, 57 if we put the seats down. The seats are manual, I'll show you that in a second. You have a little cubby over here on the right, and then your typical underfloor storage, which a lot of EVs have. There's no spare tire and some charging equipment. There are 2 tie downs, one on each side right here and on the other side, and that's all we have. Rear seats again are manual. Welcome to the rear of the Equinox EV. I was surprised to find the rear seats are bolstered, which work great for the outboard passengers, but Godspeed for the middle seats. They are heated. Again, this is a convenience package too, which includes that. Again, manual, fold down. If you have kids, this is on this particular car, this horseshoe shape is cloth. So good luck with that, but the good news is you got a spot for them to hide money right here and pay for your cleaning bills. And then this little trim piece, I don't know about that. All right, moving up front, the interior is pretty nice on this vehicle. I'm impressed with a lot of spots. You do have your typical Chevrolet plastics in a few spots, which I'm not a big fan of, but if you're used to Chevrolets, you're going to be used to that. A lot of the touch points are really good. I really like the way this material feels, although I do wonder how dirty that's going to get in this particular car. Same with the center console. The one thing I don't really care for is this blue fade. You see it's silver fades to blue, and then that blue follows through onto the dash and some on the center console. The center console doesn't look too bad, but up on the dash I'm not a big fan. Let's get into the car. This is where Chevrolet really comes into their own. They're doing this part right. You got a 17.7 inch instrument or center radio stack here, an all digital display. You can see this car is averaging about 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is good. Let's turn the vehicle on. Try to get some HVAC going in here. I'm dying. There we go. On off button. So as you can see, you have physical controls. They're in the middle, and a wireless phone charger, 2 cup holders, two USB-Cs. There's 2 more in the back. Center console is reasonable, little narrow, but you can fit some stuff in there. It's got a decent sized glove box. Turn this fan down a little bit. So the center radio here, I mean, again, it's Google based. I don't know what I did there. Double tap to turn back on. Okay, You see how quick and responsive this is. Again, Google based, but there's no Android Auto in here. There's obviously no CarPlay to go with it. So again, I could spend all day going through all these settings, but I've found it to be very responsive and intuitive. Okay, so you got a heads-up display on this particular car. You've got a digital rear view mirror, and you got a blind spot that will block just about everything short of a school bus. One good thing about this, you know, if you're used to Teslas, you don't have this anymore. This is your gear selector. These touch points, they feel good, not great, but they feel good. One thing I don't like is the steering wheel. So I like to drive with my hands at 3 and 9, and you can see this part of the steering wheel protrudes out and rests right on my thumb. I'm not a big fan of that. It does not feel great. The dash is, let's see if we can get this about eye level. The dash is relatively high and long. It's not my favorite. I also feel like I'm sitting up very high. Of course, that's adjustable. This car does have the sunroof. Let's see if I can open that shade. Not bad. It really lightens it up in here. All right, that's it for the inside. Let's take it for a drive. All right, let's take this for a drive. When you get in, it'll automatically turn on. To turn the vehicle off, there's actually an off button right here. You can either walk away and lock the car and it'll turn off, but if you want to turn it off, vehicle off. Now to turn it back on, you can press on the brake and it will turn on. Pull back and down for drive. The e-brake turns off, typical EV fashion, nice and smooth and quiet. I found the 220 horsepower, 243 torque in this front wheel drive. I thought it would be adequate. It's barely adequate for me, but it is very smooth and there is enough power. There's just not as much as I would have liked to have. So I have the regen currently set to full, which is essentially one pedal driving. I prefer it in the middle setting. You can turn it completely off in this vehicle. And there's a paddle over here to make it regen. All right, let's see what it's got here. That's not bad. Again, that's 50 miles an hour. It's adequate. It's just not as fast as, say, something like a Tesla would be. Equinox is built on GM's BEV3 platform. It has a 116-inch wheelbase and a 190-inch overall length. It's a strut front and multi-link rear. Our test vehicle has trash can lid size 21-inch wheels, which I think look great, but I wouldn't want to pay for replacements. Those are currently running about $380 to $450 each on Tire Rack. For comparison, the 19-inch tire option would be around $100 cheaper per tire. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is price. Now, the Equinox EV starts around $36,000 and you can option it up to nearly $50,000. Our test vehicle was around $47,000 to $48,000, but that wasn't the purchase price. As recently as May 2026, depending on trim level, you could get $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 off, and this vehicle was purchased for mid-30s. So with that said, it kind of becomes less of a why and more of a why not. If you're sold on getting yourself an EV, you know, if you're looking to spend mid to high 30s, I think this is probably better than the Tesla offerings. But if you're looking to spend high 40s, I maybe would look at a Tesla at that point. Final thoughts on the 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV. If you're watching this video, you're probably going to spend most of your time in the front seat, and this is where I think you'll find a really good cohabitation between what GM does really well and what they maybe don't do so well. Some of the plastics in this vehicle I don't really care for. It's not my thing. I don't like the way they feel. But some of the stuff that GM does, like their new corporate dash that they seem to put in everything, is fantastic. It's quick, it's clear, it's easy to use, but you don't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, as I mentioned earlier. So like I said when I reviewed the Sierra EV, when I step inside the Equinox EV, there's a lot that GM's done right here. From the inside is genuinely a nice place to be, especially after you've checked a few option boxes, namely the convenience package 2. I think that's a must-have. On the exterior, I find it to be a very attractive vehicle, but that's obviously subjective. A couple of the questions I have are long-term reliability and depreciation. So as far as reliability, you have an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty on the battery. So if you're somebody that keeps their vehicles a little longer, I think you'll know by that point whether or not it's a vehicle you want to live with outside of warranty. You know, is there going to be an aftermarket support pop up like there is for some of the more established players like Tesla? I'm not sure. It's really going to depend on sales volume. And then back to the depreciation side of things, these vehicles were heavily discounted when new. So if you're not seeing those incentives now, keep that in mind on the used market. I know that a vehicle like this, which maybe was purchased for mid-30s, is probably going to be mid-20s in trade-in. And who knows what the dealership's going to ask for that if you try to buy it used. So keep that in mind. Try to buy it right, because if you buy it right and you make use of that warranty, I think you'll probably be happy for the long term. Thanks for watching, and see you next video.